Okay, so thanks so much, everybody. So this is Jessica Wolf. I'm a principal in our consumer and retail practice. I'm based out of New York, and I also have the pleasure of leading the Women's Network for the Americas. Diversity is a topic that I'm very passionate about, so really, really happy to be moderating the phone call tonight with all of you on the line. I hear we have nearly 70 people who are joining this call today, who are prospective A.T. Kearney applicants. So really excited to have such an amazing and big group on the phone, very, very talented group. So I'm really excited to have this call today. So we have a really great panel for you tonight. So we're really excited. We're going to share a lot about diversity and inclusion at A.T. Kearney and what it means for our firm that we are both diverse and also inclusive. We have a great group of consultants on the line today to really share perspectives and share their personal experiences about being at A.T. Kearney, being a consultant here, being involved in diversity networks. We have Byron, Victoria, Nicole, Varun, and Rana. And I'm going to give everybody, Rana, and we're going to give everybody opportunities to introduce themselves in just a few minutes so you can learn more about the consultants that are on the line. Again, my name is Jessica. I'm in that top row left side. So I just want to really kick off and share a little bit about the presentation and about what it means to actually, be a firm that's very much committed to diversity and inclusion, and what it means at A.T. Kearney, because it really is a very, very critical piece of the consulting firm, and really differentiating for us in terms of how we approach consulting and how we approach, client problem solving. Today, in the presentation, just to give you a really quick overview for what we'll talk about, I'll give a very brief couple-minute overview of diversity networks and diversity and inclusion at A.T. Kearney. I'm going to give all the panelists an opportunity to introduce themselves so you can learn more about them. And then I have a couple questions to really start to probe and ask our panelists to share their perspectives on diversity and inclusion, but we also want you to be able to provide your questions that they can be asked through the panel. So I believe, Tricia, you're taking the questions from the folks on the line, and then you'll feed them to me, and we can make sure that we get those questions answered. So just to really introduce what this means and how we think about diversity and inclusion, we think about it in three different pillars. First, there's the talents. It's you, right? It's making sure that we're bringing in the best talent to the company, the talent that is, diverse in thought, diverse in approach, and diverse in overall problem solving, which really makes for really interesting and collaborative co-creation of the solution for the client, because everyone comes at it in all different sorts of ways, and so you really get a really good thought process and good solution there. And it's also about developing and retaining that talent to make sure that that talent is groomed and also given the opportunities to get to the highest levels of the organization and to be real leaders in the firm. The second pillar is around culture, making sure that we're fostering inclusion. So it's very important to talk about always diversity, but diversity is great. It's only really successful if you're also inclusive as an environment, and making people feel that they can bring their true selves to the workplace and really be themselves, and fostering that inclusive environment in everything that we do, but also keeping leadership accountable to make sure that they maintain a diverse culture and a diverse firm that's very comfortable for everybody. And then the last pillar is really around clients and making sure that we, think about our very unique proposition as a firm, that we're very diverse in our thought process, really bringing that problem-solving approach to our clients, and it's a way that we're able to deepen our client relationships, the way that we can collaborate in the best and overall increase our brand in the marketplace as being a firm that's very, very inclusive and respectful and welcoming and promoting of diverse groups. A couple accolades, always nice to throw in that, we've been really recognized for all the great work that we do at the firm. We have 5 women partners that have been named to Consulting Magazine's Top 25 Consultants, which is basically the premier award you can get as a consultant. Very, very exciting. We're always recognized as a top place for women to work, Working Moms of the Year, Women Leaders in Consulting, which is always, really indicative of all the work that we do to maintain this as a very inclusive environment, but also offer programs that allow for not only working moms, but really all working parents to have the flexibility they need to be successful consultants, but also successful family members. Overall diversity, you can see here lots of consultants, leaders, John Kurtz, Beth Sagel, who's our Global Diversity and Inclusion Lead, really recognized as leads, and then of course, looking at overall our support and attendance at various conferences and top 50 out front for diversity leadership, so really some great awards that we've gotten that recognize it. And we say this because we know that it's great to get the recognition from the marketplace and to know how committed we are to really being diverse and inclusive, but we also say it here because we know we want to maintain that. And so it creates a little bit of an incentive for us to keep on maintaining those awards and those accolades. Just to share very quickly with you overall how we think about diversity in terms of the networks that we offer. So overall, we have 9 diversity networks at the firm. You can see here on the WebEx screen the networks that we have. These networks were really created to support the employees that we have, to improve, again, our ability to attract the best talent, to retain the best talent, to also create communities for consultants, to be with like-minded other people where they feel comfortable, but it's also an opportunity for these networks to share the diverse sort of offering and some cultural heritage and things like that with other consultants as well, so there's overall better awareness, which is really great. We have representatives on the call today from 5 of these networks, and I'm actually going to flip right now and give those consultants an opportunity to introduce themselves. So maybe we'll start with you, Victoria, and you're also in the room with me.
Yeah, so hello, everyone, and thanks for joining tonight's call. And it's always exciting to see the future of AT Kearney, or at least see your names if I can't see your faces. So as Jessica said, my name is Victoria. I am an associate here in our New York office. I've been with the firm now for 4 years, just about 4 years. I'm here tonight representing the Women's Network, although I am also an affinity member of the Hispanic Network. We are supportive of that as well. And throughout my time at the firm, I have actually had a few roles. I was in our Global Business Policy Council, which is a think tank, for about 2 years, and then I transitioned into consulting. And I've been doing this now for about 2 years. My projects at the firm have spanned all different industries, from wine and spirits to transportation and pharmaceuticals, and the project types have gone from growth strategies to setting up a joint venture to creating a international operating model for a global company. So I've really had the opportunity to explore a lot of different fields. And for me, being a part of the Women's Network has been an amazing resource to build my informal and formal network and support here at AT Kearney. I feel that, everyone will be set up with a mentor when they enter the firm, but the informal resources I've gotten from reaching out to other women globally who have shared interests has been just an invaluable resource for me, and I look forward to talking with you more about it. Thanks.
Great. Should we move to Byron? Are you on, Byron?
Yep, I'm here. And Jess, if you want to flip forward, I think we have bio slides right back in there.
Oh, I'm so sorry, we do.
Yep, no problem.
Oh, I think my computer's frozen.
But okay. There it is. So to begin, good evening, everyone. My name is Byron Nicholas. I am an associate out of our Atlanta office. I've been with the firm for a little over 3.5 years, I guess going on 4 years now, and joined out of the University of Virginia as a BA. In those 3.5, 4 years, like Victoria, I've worked across various industries and various practices, but I would say my main experience has been in serving chemicals and defense clients, where I've done procurement work, I've done operations work, some organization design work as well. I will say I'm here representing the AfricanAmerican Network. if you could not tell. But what I really enjoy about the network is just the support that I receive from them, both at a peer level and at a senior level. Like we'll go into panel questions and more discussions on this later, but I really, really value that peer networking element of it, because, you can have senior colleagues provide you mentorship and provide you guidance and advice, but it's really nice having peer relationships that you can count on informally. If I have a random question that I don't feel like voicing up to more senior people, I'll reach out to a peer just to get that question answered. So I really like the informal networking piece of it, but specifically on the peer side. And just to speak more on the slide, so personal interest about myself, I love sports. I love Netflixing on the weekends, traveling, exercise, and music. Favorite movies, I have a lot of them actually, but I think the favorite movie that I decided when I was filling this out is A Dark Knight. If you ask me today, I might tell you a different response. And then a fun fact about me, so I really, really love baseball. I grew up playing baseball. And one of my goals in life is to visit all 30 of the Major League Baseball parks. So far, I've visited 8 of them, all up and down the East Coast and as well as some West Coast parks. And that's just really exciting. I love to travel, and mixing travel with baseball is just a joy in my life. So that is a fun fact about me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Byron. I like that a lot about sort of having that safe space and peers to reach out and bounce ideas around. That's a great theme. Okay, Nicole, are you on?
I am. Hi, Jessica.
Hi.
Hey, everyone. This is Nicole Jesseborg-Freer. I'm a manager out of the Chicago office, and I am also part of the consumer retail practice like Jessica. I have been with the firm since 2014, so also like Byron going on my 4th year, and pretty much have focused in, I think, a lot of different areas within our consumer retail practice. Have worked in media, have worked in beauty, have worked personal care, and have done some other stuff in between. So I thought I was supposed to give a tagline, and no 2 days are alike, and that's especially true even on our projects. The network that I'm representing for the call today officially is the Hispanic Network, but I'm also a member of the Women's Network and a loyal superfan of Gala, and try to support the other organizations and affinity networks when possible, particularly with recruiting. So I hope to meet many of you over the coming months as recruiting goes fully underway. I think, to me, the importance of diversity networks, any of the ones that you hear, I think, from folks, is especially having access to several different affinity networks. It really helps, I think, when you're making, big or small decisions. You get so many different inputs or access to different inputs of opinions and perspectives that you don't really ever feel, I think, alone in the decisions you're trying to make. Maybe it's whether you want to take this new project. Maybe it's whether you want to take on a new role at the firm. Maybe it's, am I ready for promotion? I think there's a lot of different folks at the firm that can really support you, and I found that to be especially true with the diversity networks. You can see the other biographical material about me here. My fun fact is I was a contestant on the game show Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. I did not win. I came in 2nd place, and I'm still really upset about it.
I've known you for many years, Nicole, and I've never known that. I'm very excited about this fun fact.
We can talk about it more in detail. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you. Rana, are you on? Rana? Maybe she's running late. Maybe we'll come back. Move ahead to Varun.
Hi,
Hello.
Jessica. Yep, I'm here.
Great.
Fantastic.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Oh, Rana, is that you?
Oh, I guess I was talking to myself. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, and I'll follow you afterwards.
I can introduce you if you like. I think that would work too. Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Brianna, and if you can tell from my accent, I was born and raised in Istanbul, Turkey, and I joined the firm in 2016 after graduating from NYU. And as that can tell, I'm here to represent the Middle Eastern North African Network today. In general, my experience in AT Kearney mostly has been in the CHIRP as well as PE practice areas, but just as Nicole said, no 2 days are alike. So I've done work, from a monetization strategy for a startup to like a assortment optimization strategy for a grocery retailer. So it's been, a super diverse set of experience, which I really have been enjoying. And what MENA means for me, honestly, like from probably the way you can tell, the first thing I say about myself when I introduce myself is that I'm Turkish. So it's something that's very dear to my heart, and it's really meaningful to be able to have that identity and, being celebrated, as well as, having people that's from the similar backgrounds to be able to share things, not only from a, project and developmental standpoint, but also when I miss Turkish food or when I miss baklava, it's great to have someone to just whine about and just go grab dinner together when I'm really craving that kind of stuff. So it's really from, professional all the way to personal. It's just a great support network, as well as it gives you a sense of home, even when you're at work, to be surrounded with people like this. So fun fact, yes, I do have 2 extra ribs. So if anyone is interested about how that feels, feel free to reach out to me after this call. Happy to answer questions on that. But let me turn it to Varun, because I know we're running a little behind time.
Thanks for that, Rana. Hard to beat. Hi, everyone. My name is Varun Ponuru. I'm an associate out of the Chicago office, and I'll be representing the Gala Network today. I'm also an affinity member of the East Asian Network. A little bit about myself. I'm probably the newest to the firm. I joined last July, and since I've joined, I've been very fortunate to be on a variety of different projects. I've been on everything from an e-commerce company to a trucking manufacturer to a telecom provider to now I just started a project this week with a mattress company. So it's going great. It's fantastic, and I'm learning a lot. I'm very appreciative of that. I think that being a part of the Gala Network has certainly played a huge role in me having that wonderful experience at the network, at the firm. I've been able to tap on so many mentors within the network, and of course super fans like Nicole, and Nicole, we're a super fan of you too. It's been absolutely wonderful to get all of that support, and it's been a big part of my experience at the firm so far, and I'm really looking forward to talking to all of you about that later on in the call. A few fun facts about me. I've been a vegetarian all my life. I do not eat meat, I never have. And I know that vegetarianism is starting to become cool now, which I'm very excited about. But I was a vegetarian before it was cool. So back over to you, Jessica.
Awesome. Before Beyonce, as I'll call it.
Before Beyonce.
Excellent. So thanks so much. So I'm going to maybe kick it off and ask the panelists that we have here today a couple questions, and I also want to make sure that we open it up to the students on the phone to make sure that you have a chance as well to ask the burning questions that you want to ask. So maybe I will, kick it off and ask Nicole, if you could describe how your network has really impacted your career the most at AT Kearney.
Let's see. So I would say probably around the time that I was thinking about promotion. It's a decision that is definitely something that is driven by, whether I want it or not. And I think I remember thinking, am I ready? Is this the right time? And so I sought out definitely some counsel of a few folks, but I talked to a couple of others within Hispanic Network who had been at the firm for, a couple of years, and they said the same thing. I said, if you should feel ready, but, no one ever feels 100% ready for the next step, and just know that you have the right support base around you. You have us who've gone through it beforehand. You have others as well, but we're here to support you. So don't worry about, failing, or don't worry about, coming up short, because you won't, because we're all here to support you, which I thought was really nice. And then, you hear that, and then you go through, the process of an annual assessment, and then you kind of, get lost in the busyness of work and stuff. But then people actually reached out, like, how are things going? Do you feel like you're settling into being a manager? Do you have any questions? And I had, of course, a ton of questions because, you always, think about the role and then you actually get into the role. And so you have different levels of, questions on what you think, you should be doing versus, what you have to be doing. But I think they were, especially those individuals, are really important in being informal advisors. And I think hopefully helping me be a successful manager. Haven't gotten too many complaints, so that's good. But I still, go to those individuals, even when I'm just trying to think through, a situation I'm dealing with or, something that I'm about to embark on. So it's really nice to have people be able to spend the time and invest in your development and your success. And then for me, I think I turn around and make sure I can pay that forward and do right by others to support others that are also thinking through some of the same decisions that I've thought through.
That's a great answer. It's always about paying it forward, too, so it's good to show that full loop. Rana, anything from your side that you'd like to add in terms of the impact of the MENA network on your career?
Absolutely. So actually, honestly, for me, MENA was the true first proof of how encouraging and entrepreneurial really the AT Kearney culture is beyond the buzzwords, because when I first actually joined, we didn't have a formal MENA network, and I was happened to be staffed on a project with a Lebanese principal, and we were having these very heated arguments about where the Turkish coffee actually comes from, which is Turkey, for the record. And then we decided, hey, let's scale this across. I'm sure there are people, and let's have a group where we all get together. And from then we ended up hunting down all across Americas who are our colleagues who are from the region, who are from the MENA region or are strongly affiliated or have a strong bond for MENA. And then from there, we got 100% support from our senior leadership, even though we were maybe 10 to 15 people at the time. And they were very supportive about, let's get this rolling, absolutely. And from then on, since then, we grew the network and we have these events and, mentor-mentee relationships, a huge presence in recruiting. So it really has been from, shown me and it gave me that encouraging piece at AT Kearney. If you feel like you want to make something happen, you can. People listen and give that opportunity. And ever since that, the way it impacted my career, not only helps me have such a welcoming environment, but also have a group of people that you can always go back to and have that ring in your mind that whenever you want to do something here, you can make it happen, which was really one of the big impacts it had on my career so far. Of course, everything else Nicole said as well.
That's great. Thank you. And Byron, you talked a little bit when you gave your introduction about, how you've really benefited from a kind of a peer and also senior level support. I'm wondering how that really translates into mentoring and how you found the network to be really good at either mentoring you or how you've maybe used the network to mentor others.
Yeah. So on mentoring, I think that's one of the biggest things that I appreciate the AfricanAmerican Network for. Is that from day one, from even, I would say day zero, as I was interviewing with the firm before I, received the offer, then of course accepted to join, they've always placed me with a mentor, someone to really guide me through the process. So as I was interviewing, someone was, after my first round, preparing for the final round, someone was assigned to me to help me prepare. As I was evaluating the offer, trying to decide, someone in the Atlanta office was assigned to me to kind of speak me through the different offices and what joining the Atlanta office would look like. So they've always provided me with that mentoring support. And as I mentioned, in senior levels and also down to the peer levels, when I look back on the firm, as I was thinking of my time with the AfricanAmerican Network, on all of my major decisions that I've made or contemplated, I would say the AfricanAmerican Network, one person in particular, he's a director. He's been one of the first, for most of them, the very first person I've reached out to discuss this. And I think, that's just, it's always good speaking with someone who kind of knows you on a very, very personal basis. this guy that I think the African American Network has always done a great job of establishing that comfort in, you know, what happens here or what is discussed here kind of stays here. So I think just in providing guidance on all of these major decisions, you know, being that I joined the firm straight out of undergrad, so being my first, you know, full-time working experience, it can be difficult to navigate at times, but just having someone there that you trust, you know, that looks like you, and, you know, and even looking up the next level or even 2 levels above someone who's been in your shoes quite recently has always just been very helpful and very comforting throughout my time here.
That's great. That's a great response. Varun, anything that you'd like to add to that?
I think that was amazing, Byron, and I would echo the same sentiments about the Gala Network as well. They've certainly, everyone on the network has been someone that I look up to, and they have been so incredibly accessible with providing their mentorship to me. Everything from, I think, every decision that I've made at this company, I have consulted someone from the Gala Network, and they've been so ready to offer their perspective from a very balanced viewpoint. And I think that that's really what you're looking for. You're looking for someone who can be very frank with you and candid about the implications of one decision versus another. And sometimes that can be difficult for you to be very honest about, and for them to be very honest about that with you. And that has really helped me, I think, make the right decisions in my career at AT Kearney thus far. And I've been very thankful to all my mentors in the network for that.
That's great. That's great. It's a great response. So I'm going to, for the panelists on the phone, I'm going to switch the order a little bit and inject a fun question. So, Rana, if you can let us know, what's the most recent event that you participated in as part of the MENA network that was really fun that you want to share with the group here?
Absolutely. So actually, recently we had this event in the New York office where we did not only have a startup that actually they're a catering startup who do catering with refugees who settled in New York. So we had an awesome panel discussion with them. They were from Lebanon, so a great discussion about the region, about the problems. But on top of that, we actually brought a live band to the New York office who played Middle Eastern music, let's say, and some of our colleagues were really not used to that. So we got like dancing lessons from the artists. A few friends got to learn some moves, and it was just like a great way of showing everyone a different kind of like how we have fun back home, and how the kind of music we listen to, the kind of food we have, the kind of drinks we have, as well as the kind of causes that we work on. And actually the startup that we had for the panel, after that we followed up doing a pro bono project with them as well. So it was like an overall super fun as well as rewarding event for us, which was super fun.
That sounds super fun. Byron, how about you? Any fun events you want to share with the group?
Yeah, I have a lot that I can go on, but I think the most recent one, so every year the African American Network, and I think, I've only been here for 3.5 years, but I think we started it maybe 3 or 4 years ago. It's called it's an annual professional development forum, and they invite all of the African American Network affiliated consultants. So there are some, that aren't African American. They're just affiliated with the network. We invite us out for about a day and a half of networking, fun and events, and professional development. So the main day is a Friday, a full day of. They invite in guest speakers. They do a couple years ago, going back to the mentorship point, they do kind of peer mentorship or peer guidance sessions where, for example, BAs and SBAs, they'll speak with associate, a recently promoted associate, that they provide, that really strong peer-to-peer, I was just in your shoes a year ago, and this is how I got to the next level type of discussions. It starts off on Thursdays with a networking event. And one thing that I really, really enjoy about this is not only does it give you a chance to connect with current AT Kearney employees that are in the network, and one thing one thing it also does, and I think all the networks can say this about A.T. Kearney, is once you leave A.T. Kearney, you join the alumni network that, it's kind of a lifelong relationship that you hold. So they even invite alumni. So people that were in the firm 2 or 3 years ago in the African American Network that I haven't seen since they transitioned or since they left the firm, they invite them out to the networking events, to the fun events and fun activities, as well as to the professional development forum. So as an African American network, I think we're a really, really close-knit group. We're a fun group that likes to have fun, but we also handle business and take care of business and provide that mentorship, that guidance, that professional development as well. So that's an annual event. That was the most recent. It was late fall last year, so it'll probably be around October, November timeframe again this year.
Great, and I've been to that event, and it's a good one. So thanks. So maybe I'll ask one last question to our panelists, and then I'll ask for maybe a 30 to 45-second response, if at all possible, and then we're going to open it up to the audience members to ask some questions. So my last question I want to know is, how did you know that you were meant to be a consultant? And also, how did you know that A.T. Kearney was the right consulting firm for you to land at? Hey, Victoria, if you can go first.
Yeah. I think I love this question because I think for me it really was a journey, and I feel like I really ended up in the right spot, really, again, because, to echo what others have said, because of some of the connections I made through these diversity networks. But for me, I started out as an international relations major in undergrad, and I wasn't sure that consulting was for me. I started out, like I said, in our think tank. And what I really saw while there was, well, first of all, I loved that experience and can talk more about that on another call. But through that, I got to see what our consultants were doing. And every day they were having an impact on making a tangible difference for their clients. And they're working on a team, in a team room every day, getting constant feedback. I was seeing constant growth and improvement. And from my peers who were from my same undergraduate school. So I actually utilized the relationships I had formed through the diversity networks to transition into consulting. And so my first projects were with diversity network partners who had believed in me. And so for me, that's how I knew consulting was the right fit for me, was seeing the impact that you could have every day and the environment that I got to work in every day with my peers and with partners all the way down, a really flat structure. And then I knew that A.T. Kearney was the right firm because we are fairly small and nimble, so I've been able to explore all of the different areas that I'm interested in through, the diversity networks where you played a huge role, but I really feel that I've been able to explore continue my passions for social impact as well, international affairs, and my passion for client work. So for me, A.T. Kearney was the place where, from the level of analyst on, I felt like I could really make a difference, and that I was supported to do so through my connections in the diversity networks and more broadly connections with my peers.
Great. Excellent. There's a lot in there, but really indicative of what we stand for as a firm and what's really important to us. I think with that, I'm going to turn it over to Emily, who is going to take some questions from the group, from the audience out there. I know some people had already submitted some questions, but Emily, go ahead.
Yeah, first, thank you everyone for that discussion. It was great to hear. But hi everyone, I'm Emily Wolowski. I am part of the campus recruiting team here at A.T. Kearney, and as Jessica mentioned, feel free to send any of those questions through the chat function in the bottom right corner of your screen, but we have received a few. So I'm going to direct the first question to Nicole. As you mentioned, support as an ally of Gala, and feel free to expand on any of the other networks as well. But can you tell us a little bit about your participation for networks that you aren't a representative of, and how you get involved to support?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think a lot of my participation is probably driven by, maybe it's selfish, but I want to make sure that I have great people that are around me that have diversity of thought, diversity of perspective that I can lean on, because I do think a lot of the great work that we end up doing as a firm is really a team effort. So selfishly speaking, I want to make sure I'm working with good people. So I have been pretty involved. I was pretty involved with our school recruiting at the University of Michigan, but even within that, I'm doing diversity recruiting across the network, and then helping with a variety of activities across the different networks. So a couple I'll point out. Gala has a really great program where they have a boot camp. The AfricanAmerican Network does as well, diversity boot camp. And it's really a great way, I think, for you as an applicant to come in and to learn more about the firm in an environment that's really comfortable and open and welcoming. I think for those of us who participate, it's also just a great way to get to know new people and to help you think through some of the questions that maybe you're a little nervous about asking about because it's recruiting and it seems so formal. But with the way that the environments are structured, it really is informal, and you really are encouraged to ask whatever's on your mind. So I've had great, discussions with folks at the gala dinners, at the happy hours, as well as in between conversations, when we're having more formal sessions like how to prep for interviews or running through a mock case. I think that also just helps me, continue to put into perspective what life is like as a consultant. Sometimes, with client work, you really, think about, client work all the time, but really being able to see it through others' eyes that are looking at the firm is really fun and interesting to see. So yeah, I think that's probably, I don't know if there's any follow-up questions, but I think participation for me across all the networks is really important to make sure we continue to bring the right mix of people into AT Kearney.
Great, thanks. Oh, sorry, yep, go ahead.
This is Rana. Just to add to that, for instance, in the MENA network, we have people who have been to Istanbul just once in their life, or, always have wanted to go there but have never been. And, people, whoever is interested, it's really not about, you don't have to be from there or you don't have to. It's really more interest-based. It's always, with diversity, another thing we're highlighting here is inclusion, and everyone who's interested in any of these are generally welcome. So definitely.
Great, perfect, and I was just going to say, if anyone has anything additional, feel free to jump in. But my next question, I'm going to direct this to Byron. So as the loan representative from Atlanta, can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with network members from different offices and how you stay connected across the Americas and even across the globe?
Yep, definitely. So I think the AfricanAmerican Network does, I would say, three things that keeps us all connected and knowledgeable of what's going on around the firm for the network. So two things, the first two things are distributed virtually. So the first is we have an AfricanAmerican Network newsletter that's given out once a month or at least every other month that really just highlights the events that are going on within the network. It gives a network member an opportunity to have a spotlight where they'll kind of discuss a recent client project or a fun client engagement that they share, as well as other fun information on the newsletter. We also have a monthly call, which most of the time it goes along with the newsletter, where we discuss those similar topics. So upcoming events, past events, and then we give a network member an opportunity to share a recent project experience that we can, all use and learn from. And then the last one that's for the nationwide network coming together is the Professional Development Forum, as I mentioned, where we do that annually. Most of the time it's in Chicago. Sometimes it's been in Atlanta before, but most of the time it's in Chicago. We get together for networking, for professional development, and for other fun activities. And on top of that, we have mostly regional happy hours. So New York office will have happy hours or other events, as well as Chicago, Atlanta as well. And some network members you'll see will travel in for those events as well. So we do have regular touch points with the network where we can network with each other. We can kind of learn from each other and stay up to speed on what's been going on and what's to be coming within the network.
Great, thank you. And looks like we're about approaching on time. I'm going to ask one last question to hit us off on a high note. But Victoria, I'm going to direct this to you. Can you share with us your most memorable moment being a part of the Women's Network?
Ooh, gosh. And this is the last question. Such pressure. I think one of my favorite memories with the Women's Network was in one of my first experiences with the Women's Network, actually, in 2014 when I joined the firm. We had an all-hands where we brought everyone from the Americas to Cancun, actually, for a weekend to meet and, get updates on the firm, et cetera. But what we did was we brought all the women in a day early, and we did some events that were focused on women, and it was an amazing opportunity to learn from some speakers that we brought in, and we had small group discussions to talk about the experience of being a woman in the workplace and being a woman consultant and what it's like to be at different levels of in consulting. And it was one of the most empowering experiences I've had in my professional career here at A.T. Kearney, and those connections that I formed there have continued. And we try to do something similar every year on a smaller scale, normally at the office level. And then I think hopefully maybe I can be a part of planning something like that again. But that was probably one of my most memorable moments, was getting all the women of A.T. Kearney together to empower us. So I think other organization or other groups do something similar, and I encourage you to get involved if you can when you're here.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your experiences. So before I transition here, I'm just going to mention we will, if we didn't get a chance to answer your questions, feel free to send those to us. And actually, I'll show you on the next slide. I'll get to that in a minute, but first going to talk through our upcoming opportunities to get to know us better. So over the summer, we will be hosting some A.T. Kearney office visits in our North American offices. So the dates are listed there, so July 20th and then August 3rd, and the corresponding offices are listed there from 6 p.m. to 7:30. More details will be coming about that. I'll follow up in an email with that. But now we can transition to the next slide. So as I mentioned, if we didn't get to any of your questions, feel free to reach out to any of us. So any recruiting-related questions, feel free to send that to the careers.ug@atkearney.com inbox. And I'm sure, I hope the speakers don't mind me talking on their behalf, and I'm sure anyone on the line would love to share their stories and experiences a little more. So their email addresses are listed there. But thank you all for joining us tonight. I hope you kind of got a better look into A.T. Kearney culture. But with that, I'm just going to pass it over to Jessica to close us out.
Great. Thank you so much, Emily, and thank you for planning an amazing call and a great group of panelists and a great group of students with some really good questions. Also, thank you to my colleagues, other panelists that were on the phone tonight, Victoria, Byron, Nicole, Rana, and Varun. Thank you so much for all the insights and being so open and honest with your experience at the firm and your overall thoughts and diversity. We really appreciate it. And lastly, thanks to the large group of students and applicants on the phone. It was really great to hear from some of you tonight with the questions that you asked. Hopefully we'll hear from more of you, and hope to see a bunch of you, hopefully at the firm in the fall. So thanks so much for your interest and for joining in tonight. We look forward to speaking again. Thanks so much.